Hey guys, this is Ryan Jones with Tulsa Kayak. I'm going to install an anchor trolley on a Hobie Outback real quick. The tools you're going to need, of course, are the anchor trolley kit from Hobie. You're going to need a drill. I use an 1/8 inch bit. It's a little bit smaller than a screw, so it seals a hole nice and tight. Again, I don't like using silicone. I'm going to use a socket with a 3/8 bit, a screwdriver bit, a pair of scissors. You're going to need a lighter and a measuring tape. So really quick, all you do, this is actually a really super simple install. I'll start right down here on the end. Rule of thumb with any kayak is just to go and measure from the very center bow of the boat and go 24 inches. So I'm going to go through and mark right up here. Now you'll see on all these boats where the mold was put together, there's a line. You want to go through and you want to put that anchor pulley right above that line. So I'm going to mark my 24 inches. I'm going to kind of eyeball and center this. I'm going to put it above my water line. Go through and drill a hole right here. Then I go through and change out my bit really quick. I'm going to put my first longer screw right in with this pulley. Remember, on the front you want the wheel pointing towards the back end. So I'm going to get that started in. You have to do a little bit of working since I did draw such a small hole to get in there, but it's definitely worth it in the long run. You're going to eyeball this and make it parallel with the floor, so it's nice, straight and even, looks nice and clean. Go through, drill out a second hole. Then you're going to put your smaller screw in. Work that in right there. Now, something that actually does not come with the kit that I like to add to the kit, I get these at Fastenal. It's a washer with a rubber backing right in here. This is going to, not only do I drill the hole smaller so water doesn't get through, but I put this on there. It keeps me from having to go and use marine goop silicone or anything that makes it look kind of trashy. Really nice and clean look. These seal really, really well. They're very inexpensive. So I'll go on the inside right here and get these backing started. Do 2 of those. Then put the nuts on there. Now I'm going to take my 3/8 bit, hold it on the inside. I know I got my back to you, but you'll be able to see it on the back end exactly what I'm doing. I use an impact driver, so I know as soon as I need to stop on here, so I'm not putting too much pressure on the boat. That's as simple as the rear end is right there. I'm going to take my line. Now on the Hobies, they always put one of these pulleys in the wrong direction. You have a ton of excess line on here. So I'm going to go through on this plastic ring right here. Simply just go through and pull this knot loose. Untie it real quick. Just kind of throw that down on the ground. Untie that through. I'm going to run this wheel all the way off the line. Just let it stand free. Right in here. Got the little wheel on there. Real nice and simple and clean. So I'm going to do the exact same thing I did on the back. Do on the back as I did the front. I'm going to go through and pre-drill my holes 24 inches. I've got my screws back here. Grab my measuring tape and my drill bit. "24 inches from the center of the stern, very back of the boat. Gonna mark my 24 inches right there. Gonna drop that. Hold that right there. Gonna put it right above the line. I'm gonna keep the Outback logo nice and clean on there. Go through and make my first hole. Nice and clean like that. Change out my bit, put in my first longer screw. Run that in right through there. Now you gotta put some force on this to get it to go through that plastic right in there since you drilled a smaller hole. Get that in there. Now I'm gonna line it up, make it again nice and clean, parallel with the floor. Drill your second hole. Put your smaller screw in. Just like that. Then again, I'm going to put these rubber back washers on. Second one. I'm going to put my nuts on. Grab my 3/8 socket. Remember, you don't want this super snug. That's why I like this impact. As soon as it tells me it's where it needs to be, it's on there nice, tight, and solid. So now you're going to take this line that you untied earlier, run it through the top. Get that working through. Pull all the excess through. Now you have 2 rings and a bungee right here. Get this all nice and snug. They give you plenty of excess line on here. So run that through the closest ring to the back. Now with this extra line right here, I know about where I'm going to be. I just kind of cut off just enough I can tie my knots on here, but I don't have all the excess to play with right there. I'm going to put some tension on this bungee. I'm not going all the way through, but just enough on there. I'm going to tie a simple overhand knot right in here. Then I'm going to tie another overhand knot to keep that from slipping through. It's exactly what Hobie does on their first knot. So now I've got a nice snug line right here. I'm going to take my scissors, cut that nice and close and clean. Then you're going to grab your lighter, clean up the end. I always like to shape and form those a little bit. So now your anchor trolley's on. There's one more part I like to do, and that is actually put a guide on here. Hobie does send these with the kit. I normally just put one on here. This works for two different things. It works as a guide to keep the line from riding up here. Another thing it's going to do is actually allow me to use it. I use these as a cleat. That's why I leave a little bit of a slack in this line. Some people like to put the big gaudy cleats on here. I keep it really nice and clean. So I'm going to go and put my drill bit back on. I like to keep things really nice and clean and uniform and kind of hidden. So what I actually do is I'm going to go and run straight down here. I'm going to run about 1.5 inches from the line, and I'm going to go through and drill a hole. Just eyeballing it straight right down here. Pre-drill a hole. Now on this, I've got their guide piece screw, and